Welcome to 30-Minute Reviews. I'm Adam.
I'm Peter. I
And
am 1.5 Moscow mules deep and chugging along.
um,
That's my drink right now. Is Moscow mules. They're really good.
um,
It's vodka, ginger beer, and lime, and it tastes so good.
this is the first time in a few weeks. It took us like a half hour to actually get this working.
Yes, that's why I am 1.5 deep
I'm
in Moscow
convinced
mules.
this is just Windows. When I turned my computer on today, I got a note. Not turned it on. When I sat down, I got a notification. You have to restart your computer to install files, or do you want to do it later? And I was like, oh, I'll just do it later. I'm convinced that anytime you hit do it later, it turns
It just
off
tries to
some
fuck you
aspect
over.
of your computer until you restart it.
That happened to me in lab. I use, like, we all have Windows computers, and I was doing something, so I couldn't restart it. And then all of a sudden, the cameras I use all just stopped working. And I was like, cool, Windows. Like, fuck you, too.
Now I don't know if you.
Also, the vodka I'm drinking today, it's called Prestige Vodka. It was
Hmm,
$5 for a liter.
hmm, that is
It,
that's
it is.
very cheap.
It was, yeah. It was like, how can you not buy it?
Pretty easily actually. Um, let's see. So if you've been listening to the show, you know the last 2 weeks for some reason we went on close to 2 hours. For absolutely no reason.
That's
Um,
how we roll now.
this week we will correct that because I think I'm not gonna do where if we skip a week we have to do that week's news too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we've spent 45 minutes to an hour the last 2 weeks covering stories, and I think that's excessive. So we're just gonna launch into the biggest stories because we didn't do one this week because of Easter, and so we'll just do the biggest stories from the last week or so. Um, so first of all, this broke yesterday.
The March for Science.
The what for science?
The March for Science.
Oh, that's not what I was gonna talk about though. The Fox announced their upcoming movie slate for 2018. Uh,
Good for them.
can this just stop, please? This is really
What?
irritating.
Like
I hate.
releasing all their movies this far in advance when
No,
they don't
no.
even
They
know
only
if
released
it'll
the
be
2018
released.
slate. They only announced their 2018 slate. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is, if you have a website that has news and you have a video on it, do not have the video autoplay because it's
That's
just
kind of annoying.
annoying. So they announced 3 movies next year. Fox. Um, again, Fox is gonna have a lot more than 3 movies, but relevant to this show, there are 3 Fox movies next year. The first comes out on April 13th, taking the spot this year occupied by The Fate of the Furious, hoping to get some of that box office run to rub off next year. The New Mutants will be opening on April 13th.
Is that an X-Men movie?
Yeah, not quite the uproarious like applause I was expecting from the announcement of that movie.
It's a
The,
weird name, the New Mutants.
well, it's a bunch of characters you've never heard of and Professor X.
Oh, okay.
So
I guess
like
that could be cool.
Maisie Williams is playing Magic. Anya Taylor Joy from The Witch is playing, and Split is playing someone I forgot. Maybe
I
she's
have it.
playing
She's
Magic.
getting more diverse jobs. I guess
Yeah, she was
she's a very
in
good.
a horror movie,
She's
and then she was in a period piece, and then she was in
a
a
horror movie.
horror movie superhero movie, and now she's gonna be in a horror superhero movie for Fox. Um, really
I don't know. She's a good
diversity wise.
actress.
No, I'm not saying she's
I
not
think
good.
at least the witch be a real actress.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't. It's not a normal horror movie. I think Split is more of a normal horror movie.
Well, Split is a superhero movie too, as we now know.
Okay, yeah, I know.
Spoilers if you
We
haven't
won't
seen Split
spoil
yet.
why it is, but it is. It's
uh,
also Split pisses me off because now if M Night Shyamalan makes an okay movie, people are like, "This is fantastic."
yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah. The next movie they announced comes out June 1st, 2018, and that will be Deadpool 2.
I actually just saw that also on IMDb News.
So That is that's I have a feeling that's gonna be a letdown.
Yeah, I think it could be good. It really could go either way. It could be like Hangover 2. I think that's what the where
I
it's
think it's gonna be
like
more
just the
like The
same.
Hangover 2 than The Godfather 2. Let's be honest for a second.
Well, and that's I wasn't gonna put on the spectrum of Hangover 2 and Godfather 2. I'm just saying if it's a letdown, it would be like Hangover 2, where it just ends up being the same movie.
That's what I think is gonna end up happening. And now, but the thing is, there's so much other things. I don't think it's gonna be the same movie. I think it's just gonna be like I've seen this. Like the novelty has worn off for me at least. I mean, I
Yeah.
know there's a lot
Also,
of
people
people.
that think it should have been nominated for Best Picture can just go fuck themselves.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Like it's like I enjoyed it, like, but it's not like it wasn't
It
Best
wasn't that
Picture
good.
material. I should have
Um,
saved that one. It would have been a good segue into Moonlight.
we should save that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
sorry.
the last movie coming out next year. Um, opens on November 2nd, 2018.
Oh, whoa!
Yeah, 18
November
days for your
2nd,
birthday. Let me just take the wind out of
2018.
your sail right there.
18 days before my birthday. Coincidence?
Um, X-Men
All
Dark
the
Phoenix.
the planets are aligning.
X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Oh, so their New Mutants movie is kind of like a Star Wars anthology movie, where it's just kind of like out there.
Yeah, it's not gonna be the next X-Men mainline movie. The next
Like
X-Men,
they're testing the waters, kind of.
they're trying to do spin-offs because they realize that it's not financially stable to have Jennifer Lawrence in a movie like
That's a
every
very
two
smart
years.
decision
And
because it
purposely,
costs so much and it's not that good.
but the thing is, it's not like you can do that with Robert Downey Jr. at Marvel, but he's an actual actor,
Uh-huh.
and not just a obnoxious person on set who causes
That is a cry
problems and makes
face.
fun of the source material. Uh, so the Dark Phoenix movie. Now, I do have a problem with Dark Phoenix coming out in 2018.
Why?
Let me take you back.
Is it gonna like? Can I predict why
Yes.
first before you say? Is it a kind of similar problem with Batman v Superman, where they don't
That
like
was
go,
exactly what I was gonna say.
they don't go enough into the character before they like
I was
do
gonna
this.
say, let me take you
section.
back to Good Friday last year when we
Yeah.
saw Batman v Superman, and we had
Yeah.
Batman fight Superman in an Injustice style fight, but we didn't have the build up of why that was important that they're fighting. Now we have Dark Phoenix happening, and they've alluded to the fact that she's the Phoenix. Now you can do Dark Phoenix without her having it, because even in the comic, she gets the Phoenix Force during it, and then you have to adapt to that situation. But Jean Grey isn't a character as much as an object in Apocalypse.
Okay.
She's kind of a plot
Yeah.
device.
Yeah.
Like,
Because they use her dream like to forward like certain sections, and then she does shit, and then
like you're using her as she's a plot device there, which okay, I mean, it's just you didn't know how to use her, and she's a Bond gadget for a good amount of the movie where she's just turning them invisible, and then and then she becomes the Phoenix Ex Machina and kills Apocalypse. Like,
yeah.
and now she's gonna get her own movie, and then she's gonna be the bad guy. We don't have a development of her being a friend for the emotional impact of her getting, well, in the comics she gets possessed by the Phoenix. I have a feeling they're not going to go with that here. They're going to make the same mistake they did in The Last Stand if Apocalypse didn't go by. And I know Singer's directing, and I know people think we should have faith in Singer because he only had one bad X-Men movie, but in the history of X-Men movies, half have been bad.
Yeah, but when they're good,
When they're good, they're really good, but when they're bad, they're really bad. There's only one real mid-ground movie, and that's The Wolverine.
yeah, that movie does get a very bad rap.
Like, it's not awful, it's just there. Like,
Yeah.
and the thing, but like Apocalypse, awful. Days of Future Past, great. First Class, great. X-Men Origins, awful. Like Logan and Deadpool were their strongest two movies to date, and now you're gonna do Dark Phoenix off of that, not try to capitalize on what made Logan and Deadpool so successful, which was
Yeah.
the small story. Now you're going to have Fate of the World again, and that worked out so well for you last time. Um, but yeah, that rant is over now. On the comic side of Marvel, that was the other big thing today. Let me just take you back before we do this. Do you remember last summer? Um, there was the big DC reboot rebirth
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
where they basically said the New 52 wasn't actually the rebirth of the universe. It was just um, Dr. Manhattan interfering with timelines and stupidity like that, making everyone think they were 10 years in the past, so they can start over.
Yeah, that was
Um,
really confusing because, especially because the Watchmen existed in a universe where comics were fake, and
well,
like they read Batman and Superman as comic books.
the way they explain it is somehow the Flashpoint paradox brought in all of the properties that DC bought after um, in that acquisition. They bought out all of Alan Moore's work. So they bought Watchmen, they bought Swamp Thing, and then when the Flashpoint paradox happened, it folded all of those back into the continuity. But the Watchmen never got used in the new continuity. So they now the Watchmen are in, and that's what they're doing. And they brought back Eobard Thawne for 3 pages, and then Doctor Manhattan killed him. So now flash forward to today. I don't know if we talked about it, but Marvel had a shareholders meeting a little while back, and they said that the all new, all different Marvel was an abysmal failure. Which the all new, all different was what some call the diversity push Marvel, where it's like now
That like,
Thor's Jane Foster, Captain America's now what's his name, Sam Wilson.
and Spider Man is Miles Morales. That thing.
Right, yeah, but those are like I'm okay with Miles Morales. I'm okay with Sam Wilson. Those make sense narratively. I don't understand why Karnak is an Avengers member. Not Karnak. I'm thinking of the Native American guy who was in like 3 comics in the '60s, and then now he's all of a sudden he's a mainline Avengers member. Why is Helen Cho's son the new Hulk? Like, so needless to say, this is an abysmal failure because somehow the target audience of comic books, which are white men, don't want to buy the diversity push. Who'd have thunk it? So they said this is an abysmal failure. So now, starting at the end of this year, there's Marvel Legacy, which Riri Williams is no longer Iron Man or Ironheart in this new thing. Tony Stark is Iron Man again. Bruce Banner is the Hulk again. Thor is Thor again, and there's one other. Steve Rogers is Captain America again, and not an agent of Hydra. Well, Captain America.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that one. I remember that text. You were just like, "Yeah, Steve Rogers is an agent of Hydra now."
No,
Cool.
it was just like he finally killed Red Skull, and he's now the head of Hydra. So, well, no, you know why they did that. They did this year. Their big event comic is Secret Empires, which is I don't know if it sounds familiar to you. What if Hydra grew within the ranks of Shield and became a major player as a major villain in an event? I don't know. I feel like that sounds familiar from somewhere. I just can't quite place my finger on it. But they needed a
I think
stand-in.
like one of the problems just with all comic books is you have so many different authors making all these different stories that don't necessarily fit together. And it's very confusing for people that don't read everything.
Well, because the other thing is a lot of them you can kind of read without having to read all of them. But it's just like the big event ones. You gotta kind of like come together. And the thing is, Marvel's events are too involved. Like if you pick up Civil War, like the book Civil War, there are about 7 or 8 other anthology books you have to pick up too to get all the context for everything.
It's pretty annoying.
What?
So that's pretty annoying.
Yeah. What was the other thing that was going on with Steve Rogers? Oh, but the thing is, but the other thing is with Marvel, they put too much stock in some of the lesser known characters. So Squirrel Girl had an ongoing comic.
Cool for Squirrel Girl.
Mockingbird had an ongoing comic. You want to know who Mockingbird is?
Sounds familiar. I probably know
what
you say.
She was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That's why I know it. I think it's from watching.
Adrian Palicki on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. played her.
When I would wander in when you were watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I would watch like parts of different episodes.
Yeah.
And then like ask a bunch of questions about what was going on.
Yeah, and so she had her own ongoing comic, possibly because of her presence on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but she had her own ongoing comic. That was not well received. Native American guy had his own ongoing comic. Gwenpool, which is Gwen. Okay, let me explain to you the context around which Gwenpool exists. 1 month, Marvel does. You know how all comics have the variant covers, like
Yeah,
that's the thing. 1 month for the variant covers, they did. What if Gwen Stacy was every Marvel character? Was the Marvel character on the cover of each one?
Cool.
So they had Deadpool had Gwenpool on the cover. So Marvel's like, hey, wait a minute. People like Deadpool. People like Spider-Gwen. Let's mash them together and make an unreadable mess. And then now we have Gwenpool as an ongoing comic entering its second year.
Checks out.
I do like the new Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. She is. I do like her character. But she's gonna last through the rebirth. Also, X-Men is gonna be reverting to how it was. So remember how they had Death of X, and everyone's like, "Wow, Disney's actually going to kill off the X-Men in the comics too." And no, it's called Resurrection is the new event, which is now all the X-Men are coming back, and so like showing off the new X-Men who are coming back are Emma Frost, and who was the other one? Polaris.
Oh.
They're both returning to the land of the living in comics. But yeah, so that's basically all the news we have. That we do have 2 huge trailers that dropped between our last episode and today.
Which were those?
The first one that dropped, Thor Ragnarok.
Oh I watched that.
If you follow me on Twitter, you know that I said that it is the best Thor movie that we've ever had. And I stand by that. I don't know. I feel like they have a chance at getting a Thor movie correct.
It also seems like it can be a standalone movie by itself, which is very good.
Yeah,
like Logan.
Yes.
Where you can watch it and be thoroughly entertained and not have to worry that you haven't seen the other Thor movies.
Yeah. Like you have to be aware of Thor, you have to be aware of the Hulk.
And Jeff Goldblum was in it.
Yes, Jeff Goldblum.
Plus.
There's what's it called? I do think that this is a good character for Charlize Theron. Is that is Charlotte? No. Who's playing Hela?
No, she was in Lord of the Rings and Carol.
Tilda Swinton.
No. I'm going to do this without looking it up.
The other one.
Or you're going to say it.
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett. There we go. We did it.
Back it up. We'll go.
Yeah, she's amazing in like everything she's ever done.
Yeah, if she could be the stand-in for Death for Infinity War, because you know how Infinity War is just Thanos shouting "Please respond" at Death for several books. So that'd be a good thing to have. So allegedly the plot is going to tie directly into Infinity War. And this will be the introduction of the final Infinity Stone, the Soul Stone.
Cool.
Will be in this movie. which would I think it would. I think that leaked the leaks that I think I told you about, where it's like the
Yeah.
army of the undead has to fight Hela and her army, or Hela and her army, and
Hmm.
that'd be cool. Um, and then the other trailer, I'm gonna assume you've seen this because I think it's that the view count now is more views than there are people on the planet. Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
I don't.
Uh,
This I feel more strongly about this trailer.
hey, to be fair though, is there anyone on the planet who feels strongly about a Thor movie at all? Like either
That's a very
positively or
good point.
negatively?
Like I feel like the Thor trailer's like, I didn't like it, or that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like this one, I feel, oh, that was pretty good. Yeah, the Star Wars trailer, I don't think was that great.
What?
We didn't even get to see Laura Dern.
No, we did not. I don't think that's the big deal here is Laura Dern.
That's my poll to the new Star Wars movie is Laura Dern. So.
I don't know. I think the fact that Star Wars Episode 8 is happening is the pull for me to this movie.
I did the music I did like a lot, where it's like a mix of like newer music mashed up with the original music, and it's much more dark. I did like that a lot. That was probably my favorite part of the trailer was the music. The whole beginning part was like I didn't care. Like I get that she's going to be training, but
I feel like
then
a good amount of this movie. See, having seen The Force Awakens and having seen A New Hope, I can honestly say without a doubt that a good amount of this movie is going to take place on the what's it called? On Act 2. So
is that the island planet?
Space Island. So for training, Ray. I also think there is a strong chance that that planet where they're fighting the walkers is going to be a mix of Hoth and Bespin from Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, the part with the red like clouds coming off, I think that was really cool.
You know why? That's a mining planet, like Bespin. Apparently, and tell me if you've heard this one before. Do you want me to possibly spoil it?
Yeah, do it.
It's rumored. It's not. I'm gonna say okay. So I'm gonna say right now, if you don't want to possibly be spoiled for The Last Jedi, keeping in mind that neither of us have any idea anything about the production, nor are we anywhere near Italy or Ireland or Georgia where they are filming it, and this is purely speculation on our part. You can go ahead and tune out. But if you safe to say that these two assholes on the internet know absolutely nothing about this and are just speculating, then go ahead and listen. But allegedly, Benicio del Toro's character is a character which the website leaked named Victor Crumb, not Crumb, Victor Fett
from Harry Potter.
Victor Fett was the character. If that name sounds familiar, because Boba Fett and Jango Fett both exist. This is another Fett. He is a rebel sympathizer who runs the Mine Planet, and eventually turns over the rebels to the Empire. Again, I don't know why that's ringing a few bells. It sounds familiar. I don't know. I hope that's not real.
Oh yeah, we never got to see Benicio del Toro's character either.
Yes. He just played the Collector though.
I'm sure. Well, they are the same company, so they could.
True. There could be.
We got to see.
There is a
John
Star Wars
Boyega
Marvel crossover in the comics. So if you want to read that, then go ahead.
The only good part about the trailer that was intriguing was Luke saying like the Jedi, the very end when he was like the Jedi need to be like finished or whatever.
The tree was intriguing as well.
The tree, don't know how to feel about it. I just ignored it. I was just like, oh, that's a cool bookcase.
Did you notice that the part of the tree that was sticking out of the ground is shaped like the logo, the emblem for the rebellion, or not the rebellion, the Republic.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep. Yep. So, by the way, if you were on the internet the day the trailer leaked, and not leaked, came out and said, oh, what's that logo in the book? You should not be commenting on Star Wars because that is the logo of the Republic.
Yeah, even I don't. I know a lot about Star Wars, but I don't like. I've never read a book or anything
You
like
wouldn't
that.
be able
but
to go like the iconography of Star Wars.
Like when I saw that, I didn't even know. Like I didn't even like notice because like, oh, it's the rebellion symbol.
Yeah, like so do you want to talk about what the tree?
It's like from what I remember you telling me was like
I like telling it entertains me, and I know when I take my dad to see this movie, if this happens, he is going to walk out of the theater.
Is he going to be pissed off?
He's going to be that pissed.
Yeah, I'll be pissed off too. But it's like it's the part of the origin of the source, the Force, or something like that.
The source of the Force.
Yeah, basically. And then there's books in it.
Do you want me to tell the alleged legend of the tree?
Where it's like, you can talk about it, and I'll rebuttal with why I think it's stupid.
If you've heard the story of Cain and Abel, you are familiar with the origin of the Force in Star Wars. Let that sink in for a minute. The legend, again, allegedly. There's no proof it's true. It's just rumors. Don't get all hyped up into a tizzy over this until December, and even then, don't let it run your life. We're saying this now because I know for certain, if this is real, there will be riots, protests, and people clamoring Disney to sell the rights to Star Wars back to George Lucas. Am I incorrect?
Oh wait, can I say something about George Lucas real quick?
Go ahead.
One of my favorite George Lucas things ever is someone asked him about like the new Star Wars movies and what people that didn't like the prequels and like his response to all of that. And then his response was, Star Wars is to entertain 11-year-olds.
Yeah, basically.
And I loved it because it's like all the people our age and older that like
worship it,
freak out about it, and it's like remember what this is for. It is for children. Like
dedicate 10 minutes on a podcast to talk about Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
But so the story is there are two siblings, a man and a woman, or a boy and a girl, and they encounter a tree on Act 2. The tree teaches them the ways of the Force. Now, our friendly giving tree over here doesn't really differentiate what you should and shouldn't do with it. So the woman takes up the light side of the Force, and the man takes up the dark side of the Force. The man kills the sister, and the followers of the sister throw the man into hiding. The followers of the sister become the Jedi, and the followers of the brother become the early Sith before Darth Bane invoked his rule against having more than 2 apprentices. So, you want me to go into the other part about why this is stupid?
Yes.
So the other alleged part is the brother who was driven into hiding. We're familiar with the character already. Supreme Leader Snoke would be the brother. And the sister is another character we're familiar with. It's Rey, reincarnated.
But wait, and then okay, cool.
So that I don't know. See, this isn't gonna affect my day-to-day life like it will some people. Like probably that guy who was sitting next to me there, and the first time I saw The Force Awakens, he might actually, shoot himself in the face after that if it's real.
Yeah,
you remember that guy.
And I think I had a very good argument against why, if you introduce a reincarnation into Star Wars, it's really stupid.
Yeah, the Force Ghost.
Because there's Force ghosts that are immortal.
And
And then how can you reincarnate someone after that if their Force ghost is staying alive for a super long time? Like
That,
this is getting way too like into the spiritual of the Force. It's and it's gonna be dumb.
I would have lived very well for the rest of my life not knowing the origin of Force.
And then and people are already talking about Rey. Like just was googling it real quick, and like Rey is the actual chosen one, and that's how the prophecy will be like revealed. And
Now,
but it already worked. Like
here's my
that's
problem
part
with
of
the prophecy. There are two different interpretations within the universe of Star Wars of balance to the Force. And we're gonna go directly from Star Wars to last year's Best Picture winner, a movie about coming of age as a gay poor black man, Moonlight.
yes.
So that's gonna be an excellent transition. So I just want to make sure we're on that page before we get to
There's a black person in Star Wars.
it. So, the I thought my train of thought. Where was I going with that?
The prophecy.
Right, the prophecy. So the two different ways that the Force is interpreted. Balance has been interpreted as there being an equal number of Sith and Jedi, so there is a balance in the amount of dark and light. And then balance has also been interpreted, and the way that balance was introduced and the way it's talked about in the prequels more alludes to this, is that the light side of the Force is the natural balance, and then the dark side is the bastardization of it. So to bring balance, you have to eliminate the dark side.
Okay.
Now, this alludes... I think you can make the case that this is more the wrong interpretation. Like, where Luke... If Rey is the new chosen one, and she has to bring balance, then she gotta... It's impossible to bring balance under that interpretation.
What I always liked the original 6 movies. What I liked about it was like Anakin was the chosen one to bring balance to the Force. Then he fucked everyone over and became the dark side. But then he did eventually kill the Emperor and like destroy the dark, like at that instance destroy the dark side.
When he committed murder suicide, then yes, he did bring balance to the Force.
That's why I liked it. Was like very cut and dry, where it's like he was the chosen one, and he did eventually bring balance, but it wasn't when they all thought he would. Like it was after a long period of time.
And look, if you just want to say that, I think that the dark side being the bastardization is the better way to interpret it, because if you look, like, then it is impossible to truly bring balance, because as long as there is someone who's studying it, there will be someone who's like, I can use this to punch someone harder.
Yeah.
Like and that's what it comes down to, is like, then Kylo Ren becomes a school shooter and, kills people, and yeah, I mean, I don't know, I feel like this is unneeded.
Yeah, I'd like just make your own movie. Like stop trying to
Matrix, as you said.
Yes, that's it. This is becoming a Matrix now, where it's like everything starts over again, and it's like you can't get out of the loop.
Yeah, I'm going to be able to sleep at night regardless of what happens in this movie. This isn't gonna.
Yeah, I'd just be like, I'll probably enjoy it no matter what, because it's a Star Wars movie, and I do like Star Wars a lot.
Like, it's like what I said when we saw episode 7. Once the crawl started, I realized that it would take me a few viewings to be able to come up with any legitimate criticisms of the movie.
Yeah.
Because it's been so long since we had a good Star Wars movie. And it was like, as long as this is a passable movie, I could overlook that.
Also, they better fucking reveal who Snoke is in this movie.
I still think if Snoke isn't Plagueis, then we should revolt. That's the only time revolt should be allowed.
Yeah, as long as he's an existing character that we know that is now like this being, I'm fine.
And Rey's parents are somehow related to existing characters. They basically confirmed that when they said, we will find out who Rey's parents are, which also alludes to the fact that whole theory isn't true.
Yeah.
Because if knowing who Rey's parents are is important to the story, then why would they? Then she's definitely not, that.
It's Jar Jar Binks.
I don't think so. But yeah, I don't have anything more on. We won't.
Oh, do you know what happened? Do you know what happened to Jar Jar Binks in like the extended universe?
Yes, he became a jester.
Yeah, like after the Senate was
A
disbanded.
street jester because he got so poor. Like that's what you get.
Yeah,
For
he
helping
became a
you.
sad street performer and then like was just a poor person.
Yeah, that was oh well, and
Very
nothing of
sad.
value was lost.
Also, I do feel though I don't blame George Lucas as much for hating Jar Jar Binks as the actor who played Jar Jar Binks. Because he
Michael
was just
Jackson.
on what?
Michael Jackson.
No, Ahmed Best, I think his name is.
Oh,
But he was just on this podcast called I Was There Too.
mm-hmm.
And it just like people come, usually smaller parts in movies, people come on. Like the woman in The Untouchables, that baby carriage falls on the staircase in that one scene, like she was on it. Usually like background actors.
Oh,
Or like smaller actors in a movie. But he was on it, and he like just like as he started talking, I was like, wow, this guy fucking sucks. Like I hate him. Like he's like super arrogant about like how awesome he is at everything. And
well,
like
you couldn't act well in a Star Wars movie. And it was a very, very, very low bar you have to cross.
yeah. And then like he talked about how much like Liam Neeson liked him and they would like joke around all the time and how great they were on set together.
I bet he's like, you ever see the pictures of Nikki Blonsky tweeting at her co-stars from Hairspray?
No.
It's really sad. Like,
Wait, what is the picture?
It's like a bunch of tweets of Nikki Blonsky tweeting at her. The tweets she sends at like Jordan Sparks, Zac Efron, and all people trying to get back into movies. It's so sad. Let me see if I can find it. So
I just found it.
Yeah.
It's very.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's very.
Yeah.
Cringy. Amanda Bynes like, hey girl, I texted you. Hit me back. Love you, boo boo. XOXO.
So let's move on to our movie review this week.
Then she says like she tweets at Jimmy Fallon. Thanks for the follow. I did the Tonight Show back in 2007, and Jimmy is my family's favorite host. I'd die to be on with him.
Nice. So yeah, this week's movie is a little bit of a downer, going from Star Wars to that. Moonlight, the 2016 Best Picture winner.
Black boys look blue in the moonlight. That's what the book is called, I think.
The play is called.
Play. Okay.
I texted you this morning. I think this is the best Picture winner in a while.
I went back from 2000 until now to look at all the Best Picture winners,
mm-hmm.
and which ones I like more or less than this one. And there's only 4 other movies that I like probably as much as this movie.
The Departed.
And it's
Best Picture.
The Departed is one of them. It's
No
the
Country for Old Men.
Departed. No Country for Old Men. Yes.
Birdman.
Yes.
Spotlight?
No. The Artist. The greatest movie
Are you
ever
kidding?
made. No, yes, I am kidding.
The artist that caused this movie to happen.
No, I hate The Artist. I've never watched and I refuse to because it's dumb.
So what's the fourth?
I forgot. Actually, there was a 4th movie, but I forget what now.
Crash?
No, that's another one. That's another one. Hold on. I just went to 2000 onwards.
Right.
But yeah, this movie was very good. The only thing, my one critique is I wish they said characters' names more because I got very confused.
More explicitly.
I was very confused sometimes about like
Who's
who was. Oh, Lord of the Rings. That was the other one.
Oh, right. I forgot. And the King.
I was like really
Forgot about that.
confused sometimes who they were talking about, and I was like, I forget who that is.
Now, I do like the way the movie is shot. First of all, they do a great job with the music. I'm not gonna. We can talk about the acting. It's not worth talking about the acting when two of the two people nominated for acting Academy Awards both won.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm gonna talk about some of the things that people may not have known about this movie going into it. Um,
It reminded me a lot of Arrival, actually,
I think it's
with
just the use of silence as
the
a
use
as a
for
character.
the use of silence, and the use of color. It
Yes.
reminded me a lot of Arrival. How like how strong the colors were in
Yeah.
different scenes. Also, Birdland and Birdman is like that too.
Um, no, I think the what's it called? The soundtrack, not the soundtrack, the use of music in place of dialogue in a lot of places is very powerful.
And
Like
there was only like 2 or 3 hip hop songs in the entire movie. Like the rest was like
orchestral.
orchestral modern music. Which
Yeah.
my other critique was I wish they said what year it was more. That was another part I was confused about. I thought the movie started in the 80s,
Uh huh.
but I don't think it did. I think it started like in the 90s.
What was the other thing?
The use of detail was like in each scene was amazing
Yeah.
too. Like in the beginning, Marshala Ali's character.
He has
I
a
don't know
crown
what
in
his
this
name.
part.
I don't know what his name is, but
Mar-a-Lago Ali.
he had a CD player in his car, even though it was like an older car.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought that was like a very good use of like to show how successful he was because that car did not have a CD player.
I think what's it called? What was it? It was they do a great job each singing, and I watched the making of documentary after.
Uh
So it's not like wow, he perfectly spot on said what the director did. No, I watched the behind the scenes thing too, and it's like each part of the movie was meant to represent one pivotal moment in the life of Chiron. Um,
okay.
for each bit. Well, no, because then it's like you have, and if you look at each part, there's a part of him dealing with his mother, him
Yeah.
dealing with life outside of his circle sphere of influence, and one part dealing with Kevin.
Yeah.
Um, where it's like when he first in part one when he's little, he goes by little in that first part. He him and Kevin have the wrestling match, and
Yes.
then like that like that I think that was more to show like this is the first time he's realizing that he's different.
Yeah,
Um,
they show each other their dicks too. That
yes,
scene.
yeah, oh yeah, that was also in the first part, and then and then when part two happens, Kevin's talking about he's playing off a big game about how many girls he's fucking,
Hmm.
and then he
And he has a dream about it.
yeah, and then he goes out onto the beach and Kevin jerks him off. Um,
Yes.
then
And then plants his cum in the sand.
um, then then part three happens and we see, and part two really directly leads into part three more so than part one into part two. Because like
Part one, I think, does like gets into the bullying more, and part two is a lot more about him being bullied.
yeah, and then but then him like the
I was
decision that he
worried.
makes to, and it's a good thing he wasn't white because I think a white kid would have just shot them.
Yeah, part one was called Little, and then when part two started, I was like, if this part is called Medium, I'm gonna be really pissed off. But then they did not call it that.
But the
That part was cool. When I was disappointed when after he got beat up and he was going back into the school, like looking really pissed off.
Yeah.
Then I was like, oh, here we fucking go. Then he walked into the classroom, and I was like, fuck this. Like, this is boring. But then he picked up a chair and fucking hit that kid in the head.
I
And I was
think
like, oh,
the
yeah.
the other thing that was good about that was the I don't know if you noticed it when he's storming through the school angry. When he crosses through one of the doorways, you can tell he's got a moment of hesitation.
No, I don't think I noticed that.
Where like it's like he goes, he kind of like he doesn't stop, but he kind of just like slows down a little bit, and like he goes to reach for the door, but he reaches like his hand like stops on the way, like he's thinking like, do I do this? But that moment is pivotal.
I noticed this, the security guard that helped him, like when he got beat up, like that same security guard walks past him when he's walking through the school and like looks at him and then just keeps walking.
Yeah.
So I felt like he knew like what was about to happen, but he just like, no, he deserves like he deserves to have his vengeance.
To be fair though, that kid was a dick. Like
that was really satisfying. I enjoyed that scene a lot.
Like he was waiting to get a chair over his back. Again, lucky he wasn't a white kid because he was at the end of shot if Tyrone was white. Then then in the third part where he becomes black and he becomes Juan, who's Marshall Ali's character.
Yeah, it was weird. I think it's strange if you were a black person and then your nickname became Black. Like, how would you interpret that? I was like, that's a shitty nickname.
he becomes Juan. And that directly comes from the fact that he goes to jail at the end of part 2 for attacking the kid with the chair. And then he comes out, and a lot of it's inferred from what you can pick up from it, which is why the movie's so good, because it's so open to interpretation. And you can, like, when he comes out, now he's hardened. That part of him that was he had to completely suppress his sexuality.
Yeah.
And to suppress it, he kind of just like bulked up and just, you know, became like Juan. And like even down to like him having the crown on the car.
Yeah, I like that part because his car was older, but it was like as old as Juan's car was, like during the 90s. So it was like a newer car than Juan's, but still older than than the present day car.
Yeah. And you got the then Kevin calls him, and he decides to go and visit Kevin, and then he opens up a little bit.
Oh, he told Kevin to fuck off more because Kevin was an asshole.
Oh, what was the other thing? I actually had a thought about this movie compared to like other movies, like Edge of Seven. This is a coming of age movie, obviously. That's coming of age movies are better when they're written for adults. Like for an adult to look back on retrospectively, than for a teenager to look ahead to.
Yeah.
Because for a movie for a teenager looking ahead, it's not going to show you the negatives. It's going to show you just the good, but this movie shows everything. Like it. I don't know. I had a train of thought, but I lost it. I'm exhausted today. So yeah. So I know it sounds like we're not doing this movie justice. But if you have not seen this movie, I think you absolutely have to see this movie.
Yeah, it was so like every part of it like felt important when you were watching it. Like I didn't feel like there were wasted like moments of the movie.
And the director had his vision, and you can see it.
Yeah,
like visually in every scene,
like,
you see what the director wanted to do, and it plays out on the screen.
Yeah, it's like in real life, if La La Land beat this movie, like people would be justifiably pissed off.
Yeah, having seen this movie, and the thing is, I'm in the minority. La La Land was not that great. It was still great, but it wasn't that great. And I even think retrospectively, this movie probably should have won Best Direction. I have to rewatch.
I agree with that too, because there's But the direction of like the use of color, like every camera angle is like felt everything about the movie felt important as you were watching it.
And the thing is too, there are some scenes, like I don't think there was a scene that was more tragic in a movie last year than that scene right after the hand job on the beach. And
When
I know
Kevin
saying it like that diminishes. Like it sounds like I'm diminishing what it is, but I really just don't know a better way to put it that would do.
Yeah, the betrayal of Kevin hitting
Right.
him, like
Then
beating him up.
the bully said to Kevin, like, you remember that game we used to play, knock him down, or something like that, and it's like, yeah, we'll go knock him down, and they're talking about Chiron, and and it's just Kevin keeps punching Chiron, and Chiron just keeps getting back up and looking at him.
Yeah, just staring him, like just not defending himself, just letting him like beat him down.
And Kevin's just like, no, just stay down.
Yeah,
that scene is it's what creates the man he becomes in the third part, and it's such a powerful scene. But yeah, that alone should have won over La La Land. But and we're gonna talk about La La Land in like 2 weeks. But wait, I held the
if Juan dies, by the way, they like mention it very briefly, but Juan does die.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
It's when the bully kid talks to him about going to see Teresa. He like says it really quick.
Yeah. And it also explains why Janelle Monáe was wandering around on stage when Moonlight accepted their award. I did not know she was in this movie until I watched it yesterday. I just thought she thought Hidden Figures won and she wandered on stage, and there she was. But no, she's in this movie. What else?
Wait, what character did she play?
She's Juan's wife.
Oh, Teresa.
Yeah. She's the one.
That's right. Okay.
She's the singer from that Fun song.
I knew I recognized her, but I couldn't figure out where I knew her from.
Was it We Are Young? She's the girl in We Are Young. You didn't know that, did you?
I did not. I'd never seen the music video for We Are Young.
Well, no, but she's even in the radio cut of the song. She's the girl singer in that. But yeah, I do think this movie hands down deserved to win Best Picture last year. To be fair though, Fences not nearly as good.
That was also based on a play, but that was like they just did a shot-for-shot remake of the play.
I watched Fences. I got through a half hour of it, and I had to turn it off.
Doesn't the whole movie take place like in that house or something?
Except for the opening scene.
Yeah.
The opening scene, it's him and his friend talking while they're while they're working, which is they're the trash men, the garbage men. So they're doing that, but I haven't seen I haven't seen the other nominees for Best Actor. I don't think Denzel Washington should have won, because he overacted his way through this movie the entire way.
I think it could have been like because it's Denzel Washington, like he deserves it.
Yeah, like the highly overrated Meryl Streep. Did you know, by the way, that Louis C.K.'s new comedy special got points taken off of it from major reviewers because he did not attack Trump?
Oh my god.
It's like, you didn't take the low-hanging fruit. Why? Like, I saw a guy in Barnes & Noble buying a book, the what's called The Philosophy of Louis C.K. I'm like, this guy is the biggest asshole on the planet.
On Twitter for the past week, do you know Andy Kindler?
Who is he?
He's in Everybody Loves Raymond and also on Marin. He's on Everybody Loves Raymond. He's his friend. He's like shorter and he has glasses.
Oh yeah.
Alright, well, I follow him on Twitter and he like despises Ricky Gervais. So like every day he tweets multiple times at Ricky Gervais about how much he hates him, basically. It's like, but Ricky Gervais just like doesn't respond. It's like really weird. It's basically about how he's annoyed at Ricky Gervais for being an atheist and like attacking religion so much and using that for his comedy, kind
It's
of.
like the invention of lying. Like,
Yeah, I
was,
like Ricky. I like Ricky Gervais a lot. I think he's really funny. But
I
yeah,
think
the invention of lying is a little
was
bit
the
too
cringiest
heavy-handed.
movie I've ever watched.
That's too heavy-handed. Yeah. But I do. Ricky Gervais did say something about religion. I did like the other day or week. He said, "God gave you the free will to worship Him or go to hell."
Yeah.
I was like, "That's a good point, I guess."
And...
But I enjoyed it. But he does a lot of good animal like him and animals. He likes a lot.
It's fuck animals.
No, he does not like the fuck animals, but he donates a lot of money to animal stuff.
What stuff?
I also watched a video about Bill Skarsgård today.
Why?
It's like it was an IMDb thing about him because he plays It in the new movie.
Right.
It.
Yeah.
But his brother's like at least 10 years old. Like Alexander Skarsgård is like 10 years older than him, like or more.
Now, are they related to Stellan Skarsgård?
Yes, they're his children.
Oh.
That's like it went through his family of like everyone in their family is an actor. Like they have a cousin or uncle that's on Vikings.
It's like what's it called? What's his name? They're like the Mannings of acting.
Or like Charlie Sheen, where it's also the Estevezes.
Yeah. We're getting off topic. We still haven't given a rating for Moonlight yet.
Oh, yeah, for Moonlight.
How would you rate Moonlight?
I would give it a 10. That's like, I don't believe a 10 out of 10 means perfect in every single way. I just do believe I would give that a 10 because I think I give Birdman like a 10 also. So I would give it a 10.
I don't think you were on when we talked about Birdman.
Oh, well, in my head, I give Birdman a 10.
We did Birdman like episode 2. What was it? I think, yeah, I would give it a 10 too. Like I didn't like last year's Best Picture winner. This one was a lot better.
Last year's was
Spotlight.
I like Spotlight a lot.
I'm looking forward to next year's Best Picture winner, Fleshlight.
Oh yeah, it has to be a light.
Yes.
Maybe that's just the trick though.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so what else do we want? We have like we're gonna keep it. We're gonna see if we can get this in under an hour. We have 2 minutes. Let's see. Anything you want to talk about in the last 2 minutes before I can go in and do what we're doing next week?
I don't think so.
Okay then. So next week we have La La Land. So strap yourselves in for that clusterfuck of a movie. I give it a lot of shit. It wasn't that bad. Like I don't vehemently hate it, but it's not as good as everyone acts like it is. Then the week after we have Guardians of the Galaxy because we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 coming out that same week. Then someone who will remain nameless with Caligula. Then Alien. Then Curse of the Black Pearl. Then A Clockwork Orange. Rounding out. That's our final episode of season 3.
The Clockwork Orange.
Yep.
It's a very good movie.
Isn't that amazing? We're 3 seasons in already.
Have you seen it before?
I've seen part.
It's very good.
But yeah. We will eventually finish our Series of Unfortunate Events review. We only got 2 episodes in before we kind of abandoned doing that.
Oh yeah.
And next week we'll just do the Reptile Room.
I've seen all of it, so
yeah, we'll do that next week. Because we are at 40 seconds to go. So yeah, so we'll be back next week with La La Land and episodes 3 and 4 of A Series of Unfortunate Events, which also got picked up for season 3. We'll be back next week with that.
See ya.